I wanted to focus on the idea of kind of the space between different things. And I may lead meditations like this sometimes where you like feel the space between your heart and your upper back or whatever so sort of like we'll play a lot with that. And the reason for this is since we're in this kind of like in between space with COVID, we're like not sure where the past has gone and kind of like unsure of what's coming up in the future. And so we can practice being with the space between in different ways, both doing yoga but also off the mat, to help us kind of like learn about what this middle space is like, what this like in between space is like. So today we'll practice mostly with like very physical spaces, like similar to like what's the space like between your sternum and your upper back. But with that, we can kind of start to come closer to those spaces. And then we may be able to extrapolate and bring kind of that same level of fascination to the space in other places in our lives where there's some kind of in-betweenness. And like sort of on this note, or just to say it another way, for me, I certainly notice, and I think this is relatively common, that we're often trying to like get to the end of something. So like whether that's like get to the end of holding this pose, or whether it's like get to the end of your workday, or whatever it is, we find it hard to like come right here into this like space. And so we'll just practice with like how to be in the middle. So you'll hear some of that language. In terms of floor movement, let me not knock over my water. So in terms of floor movement to start, we'll obviously center and everything on the ground. And then we'll start by doing what I like to call an open and closed book. And I think one of my old teachers, Luann Fulbright, used to do this. So we'll have our arms in kind of a cactus shape on the ground. And we'll open the left side of the body, pick up the right side, and close the book on the left side. So arm will stack on top of arm, leg on top of leg. Then we'll open the book, so right side opens, and you'll shift all the way over to the right side, closing the book on that side. And so we'll start with just that, nice and slow, several times, much more than I'm demonstrating here, just to get into the body. And then eventually we'll be on one side, and I'll guide to just open the chest. So this means open the elbow and come into a spinal twist. We'll stay here for a few breaths, and this is the kind of new part. We'll extend the top leg, point the toe, and arc that foot down. As you arc the foot down, you'll draw that top arm toward the ear, and you're making a really long line from the fingers to the toes. So nice long line. Then we'll shift between this position, taking the top arm forward in front of the chest and the top leg back, so past the plane of the hip joint. You may feel a stretch here, and it may be pretty minor. So this is just a subtle stretch. But we'll flow between those two places, so stretching long with the toes pointed, fingers reaching, arm near the ear. And then taking that foot slightly back, arm reaches in front of the chest, and you can place the fingers on the ground. So we'll play from there. Eventually we'll come back into a twist on that side, and then we'll go to the other side and do the same thing. So I hope that was clear enough. I will obviously guide it as we're in it as well. So go ahead and find your way onto your back. Did that make sense, Matthew?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. So finding your way onto your back. Find whatever position is comfortable for you. And that might mean that the legs are long. That might mean the knees are bent. Anything else? Sensing the very top of the head. Feeling the skull. And sensing into the face, aware of the space between the eyebrows, the space between the inner corners of the eye. Sensing the space in which the eyeballs reside, the socket. Letting your attention come into the mouth. Sensing the distance between the roof of the mouth and the lower palate. Aware of the weight of the tongue as you soften it down. Perhaps sensing a little gap between the teeth as you relax the jawbone. Sensing the space within the throat and neck. The space the collarbones create as the breath flows in and out. Allowing the shoulders to soften into the ground. Aware of the right shoulder blade and the left shoulder blade. Sensing the distance, the space
between the sternum and the thoracic vertebra. Aware of the expansion and contraction of the ribs as the lungs take in air and expel air over and over. Sensing the shifting distance between the belly button and lumbar spine, the low back. Aware of the distance between the right and left hip. The distance between the hip joints and the knee joints on both sides. The distance between the knee joints and the ankles. Right and left. The length of the foot. The space between each toe. Allowing your awareness to open up a bit, to hold your whole physical form. All the sensations that are happening within the body. Dana Falds writes, "Go in and in. Be the space between two cells, the vast resounding silence in which spirit dwells." The space between every cell. Slowly allowing the breath to deepen as it feels good in your body. Beginning to create a balloon-like structure on the inhale. Letting exhale contract, hugging belly slightly in. Finding a pace of breath, a depth of breath, a texture of breath that you can carry with you throughout this practice. Sensing the capacity of your lungs. Taking several more rounds of breath here. As the breath deepens and you become more familiar with the breath, allowing it to be a welcoming energy, a welcoming force that allows whatever arises to be here, to exist. If the legs are straight, go ahead and bend them so that the feet plant on the ground. Taking the arms to a cactus, elbows directly out from the shoulders, fingertips reach back. Begin to open up the left knee out to the side. Pick up the right foot and close your book on that side. Right leg stacks on top of left. Right arm stacks on top of left, rolling all the way over. On an inhale, open that right side, nice and slow. And as the muscles of the inner thighs need the left to lift, let the left leg, left arm lift and rock yourself all the way on to the right side, gently stacking. Inhaling as you move through center. Exhaling as you close your book on one side. Taking several rounds just like this, peeling one side up and then the other. As Coby Kozlowski likes to say, feel the beginning, the middle, and the end of every movement. Most of our time here is spent in the middle, transitioning between. With the breath, with your attention. Can you pay attention to the middle? The sensations in the back as you roll across it. The sensations in the side bodies. what it's like to have the arms and legs all in space at one time. If there's anything here that the body is longing for, like perhaps straightening one of the legs as it moves through space, you can absolutely allow that to happen. You don't need to keep the exact form. How does the space between the shoulder blades change as you move? The next time you find yourself on your left side, go ahead and stay there for a moment. No rush getting there. Taking a moment on this side, feeling the pressure on the left side. And on an inhale, rotate the right shoulder blade down to the ground. Right arm plants on the ground. You can have the arm be long or have it be in that cactus shape, whichever works. Taking a few breaths here. Feeling the space between the hip and the armpit on the right side. Letting the right leg lengthen, pointing the toe. Beginning to draw the right toes and right leg down as you stretch the right arm up toward the ear, coming onto that left side, stretching toes away from fingertips, finding a long line of stretch on the right side of the body. The toes, the big toe can really gently plant too, as well as some of the fingers if you'd like. On an exhale, let the hand draw forward in line with the shoulder as the leg draws back. Arm comes in line with the chest, stretching the fingertips away out of the shoulder as the toes reach behind you, perhaps feeling a little stretch on the hip flexor or into the psoas. And as you inhale, draw the arm back toward the ear, toes come back forward, finding that long diagonal stretch again. Exhale brings you forward, fingertips stretch out from the chest, toes reach gently back. And find this inhaling and exhaling. Letting your breath guide the movement here. Just 3 rounds of breath. What is the transition like? Is there a lack of attention in the transition? On your inhale, coming back into that diagonal stretch, And then rolling that right shoulder all the way back down to the ground. Right knee bends and stacks back over onto the left. Stretch the right fingertips away. Let the left arm come long too out of the left shoulder. Stretching fingertips away from each other. Taking 3 deep breaths here. Checking in with your body. On an inhale, begin to peel the right leg up. Eventually the left follows, coming into your twist on the right side. Taking a few moments to feel the distance between the left hip and left armpit here. As you're ready, straightening that left leg, pointing the toe, and beginning to arc the left leg down as you reach the left arm up toward the ear, pulling yourself onto the right side of the body. Nice long stretch here. Again, big toe and probably thumb and pointer finger can find the floor if that's supported. Inhale here, and as you exhale, let the arm trace so that the fingers are reaching out from the chest. Toes and leg begin to reach back just a little bit. Inhale, coming forward. Leg comes forward, arm reaches toward the ear. Exhaling, fingers drag in front of the chest, leg reaches slightly back. And so take 3 more of these on this side with your breath. Nice long lines of energy from toes to fingers. Letting the head and neck be soft and relaxed. And on your next inhale, after stretching long, rotate that left shoulder back onto the ground. Bend that left leg so that it's stacking back on top of the right. Stretch left fingertips and right fingertips away from each other. 3 rounds of breath here. Aware of the space in the torso as the spine is twisted. Gently take yourself once more fully onto the right side, planting the left hand in front of the chest. Begin to press yourself up to a tabletop position, coming onto hands and knees. In your table, stacking wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. And on your inhale, begin to lower the belly, arc the spine, chin lifts. As you exhale, tuck the chin, tuck the tail, coming into your cow tilt, creating space in the back body. As you inhale, creating space along the front body, in the belly and chest. Curling in. Taking a few rounds. Extending and flexing the spine. On your next inhale, only go 50% and just pause. Hold right here for 3 rounds of breath. Sensing what it's like to be in the middle. And then on an inhale, you can continue to arc the spine. As you exhale, begin to really slowly curl the spine, perhaps pausing again at 50 or 60%. Taking 3 rounds of breath. Know where to be, but right here. Ride and exhale to your full capacity. And take a couple more at your pace. Feeling the beginning, the middle, and the end. Only to begin again. On your next exhale, let the spine return to neutral. Let the toes tuck let the right leg extend, let the right toes tuck, and begin to press back and forth, feeling into the calf, and then coming out. And if you'd like, you can hold steady back in the calf stretch for a couple of rounds of breath. On inhale, letting the shoulders stack back over the wrists, lifting the leg so that it's parallel to the floor, sending the heel back as the crown reaches forward, hugging the belly in to the midline. On an exhale, cross the right leg over the plane of the left, plant the toes, and take a little gaze at the toes with the eyes, looking over that left shoulder, feeling a stretch on the side body. Feeling the expanse of the right lung. On an inhale, let the head return to neutral. Let the leg lift back. And on an exhale, plant the knee. Firm up through the palms again. You can always come up onto fists if the wrists are feeling sensitive. Take the left leg long, curl the toes under, and begin to find that gentle forward and back motion, finding your calf stretch. If you'd like to hold the stretch, you can. Bringing the shoulders back in line with the wrists, letting that leg lift parallel to the earth. Pressing the foot back as the crown reaches forward, nice long line of energy. And as you exhale, let the leg come over the plane of the right side, toes tuck and plant, and take a gaze at your feet. Inhale, reach that leg back long, head returns to neutral, and exhale, let the knee plant. Curl both the right and left toes under and begin to gently walk the hands back toward the knees as the hips sit down toward the heels. Stop at any point when you have a decent stretch along the back sides of the feet. Hands can come up onto the thighs. If the hands are on the thighs, you can take a little wrist wags, wrist circles. And then when you're ready, let the hands plant again, coming back into your table. Taking the right leg in between the hands into a lunge, you can walk the left foot and knee back or the front foot forward if you need a bigger stretch on that back hip flexor. Planting down through the fingers. You can also use blocks if you have them, planting down through the fingers, lengthening through the spine. As you exhale, sit the hips back, walk the hands back, begin to straighten that front leg. Little hamstring stretch. And on an inhale, pulse forward into your lunge. So find this movement here, exhaling back, inhaling forward. Just a few times. And the next time that you pulse either direction, pausing halfway. What is this pause like for your body? What's the pause like for your mind? Is your mind racing ahead to the hamstring stretch or to the lunge that's in front of it? Is it thinking back to where you came from? Allowing it to be right here. Find your breath. Come to the end of this movement and pulse a couple of more times. The next time that you lunge forward, go ahead and walk the right foot back behind you and bring the left around. Planting down through hands or fingertips, finding the distance that works for your body here so that the front knee can stack over the ankle. Pressing down to lift through the chest. As you exhale, release back, hands can walk back, foot can flex. On inhale, coming forward into your lunge. Moving through space. Moving amid everything that's happening around you. Finding a place to pause halfway through. What is that like on this side? Perhaps you paused somewhere different. Perhaps wherever you're stretching or moving feels different on this side. Letting breath meet you right here. And then continuing, finding a couple more pulses forward and back. Tucking the right toes under as you get to your lunge, pressing the right heel away so the right leg straightens, and take several small steps up with the back foot to meet the front. Knees can be very bent here. Let the hands come just above the knees. Let the spine lengthen so that it's parallel to the ground. Press down into the feet on an inhale. Lift yourself up to stand. Take a gaze down at your feet. Find them about hip distance apart. Let the toes point forward. Perhaps taking a few shoulder rolls or any other micro movement in the torso or hips that your body is calling for. Finding a steady place. Feet strong, rooted, soft behind the knees. level pelvis. As you inhale, begin to lift the arms up and around overhead. As you exhale, palms face down and they track back the same way they came. We'll take 3 more just like that. Feeling the space you're moving through. On your last one, as you exhale, see how slowly you can move through space. Can you feel the space you're in? The breath in the body. The sensations in the shoulders and hands. As the arms release, let the eyes soften or close for a couple of moments. Feeling the echo. When you're ready, finding a steady gaze in front of you. That's something not moving. Begin to shift the weight side to side. Shifting weight into the right foot and then the left. The next time you've shifted weight into the right foot, pause. Let the hands come together at heart center and then make a little pocket. So the rim of the hand is still touching, the fingertips are still touching, but the palms and the fingers are separated. Weight is in the right foot, roots reaching down, coming on to the ball of the left foot. Staying soft behind that standing leg's knee. You can stay right here or begin to slowly transition, lifting the foot up, bending at the knee, flexing the foot. And so you can stay lifted for a few rounds of breath, or you can transition down and practice moving. One more breath. And as you exhale, release the foot. Hands can stay where they are. Let the eyes soften. Feeling the right side of the body and the left side. Rocking your weight into the left foot now. Pressing down through the left, unlocked left knee. Coming onto the toes of the right. Nice and tall through the crown of the head. Begin to transition that leg up through space. Flexing the foot, bending the knee. Beautiful. Again, you might find that pulse down and up, or find a steadiness lifted. Taking a few rounds of breath here. moving amid your breath amongst sensation in the standing leg, the lifted leg. The next time you exhale, release the foot, release the hands down. Eyes soften or close. Feeling the reverberations of your movement in your body. What's alive right now? The eyes are closed, letting them open, finding a soft gaze. On an inhale, sweep the arms up and around, interlace the fingers and press the hands away toward the sky. Feet are rooted down. As you reach up with the fingers, hug the shoulders and the arms back into the shoulder sockets. Inhale nice and tall, crown lifted. As you exhale, slide hips over to the left, arc over to the right. Soft behind the knees, belly squeezing, hugging inner thighs toward each other to help protect the back and engage the core. On your inhale, press down into the feet, lengthen yourself back to stand. On exhale, release the hands. Gently move the arms through that space around you. Feeling your body. On your inhale, arms reach up again, feeling the transition, moving nice and slow. Interlacing hands, if you remember which thumb was in front, interlacing them the opposite direction. Probably whichever one feels more uncomfortable. Lengthen nice and tall, hugging shoulders down. Reach the hips to the right as you bend over to the left, soft behind the knees. As Jess Frey says, everything hugging toward the midline. As we inhale, feeling the transition out of this posture, moving slowly, nowhere else to be. What does the release of the hands feel like? How do the shoulders and armpits feel? What's happening? Finding a wall or a chair back. And if you're on a wall, just place the hands, the palms onto some wall space. You could also use any piece of furniture that's in the room. If you have a piece of furniture, go ahead and hold it or place the hands on it. Begin to walk the feet back so that you make kind of an L with the body. So spine is in line with the arms. Knees are stacked under hips, ankles stacked under knees. Nice long open stretch for the shoulders. Perhaps for the calves and hamstrings. And just take 3 or 4 rounds of breath here. Feeling the space that's opening for you. When you're ready, beginning to step forward, lifting the torso, walking back toward the wall or furniture. And if it was a piece of movable furniture, go ahead and take it out of your space, coming back to your mat. On your inhale, sweep the arms once more up and around. As you exhale, bend the knees, hinge at the hips, fold forward, arms release down. Stepping the left leg back behind you, perhaps bringing the right foot forward or out a little bit to make space to lower the left knee. Walking the right knee back to meet the left, coming into your tabletop. Take the right leg long, tuck the toes. Inhale that leg parallel to the floor. Cross it over the plane of the left, tucking the toes again. And as you're ready, begin to slide that foot back as you walk the hands back. The left hip will lower down toward the earth. Pause wherever you need to. So you might have walked the hands back 4 inches. You might come back. Eventually you can lower the back knee, so it doesn't need to stay lifted. You can lower the back knee, untuck the back foot. Wherever you are, press down through the hands to lengthen the spine, hugging the belly in to protect the low back. And finding any shifts here that you need for your hips. When you're ready, begin to walk the hands forward again. Find you might place the back foot, the back toes might help walk you back. Coming all the way back into a tabletop. And this time, let the left leg straighten behind you, toes tuck. On inhale, lift that leg, send it over the plane of the right side. Begin to slide that foot as you walk the hands back. Starting to bend into that right hip. Again, find wherever is a stretch for you. Not forcing anything. And then you can lower that back knee and untuck the toes if that helps the body soften. Wherever you are, pressing down into the hands to lengthen the chest, lengthen the spine. Couple of breaths here. Tuck the back toes again. Send the back heel back to lengthen the leg and lift the knee. And begin to crawl yourself back into your table. Lifting the feet and shins, both feet and shins off. Sending them over to the left. Walking hands toward the right. So you can sit down, send the legs in front of you. Perhaps walk yourself forward a little bit depending on where you are on your mat. And gently take yourself all the way down to your back. Perhaps letting one hand rest on the belly and one on the heart. Breathing right here. Taking the next minute to find any other movement your body might be calling for. Whether that's a specific posture like bridge or happy baby, or whether that's just a stretch of some kind, circle of some kind. Eventually coming to rest, taking your time, no rush. Coming close in. Finding a comfortable position on your back here. You can always be in a different position for Shavasana, for deep rest, if you'd like. And coming into the body, into sensation, into breath, into the space between every cell of your being. Resting here. Sensing the breath in your body. Aware of the space between organs, between bones. Aware of the space around you, the room you're in. Beginning to find small movement, perhaps wiggling fingers and toes, rocking the head a little bit side to side if that's comfortable for the neck. Perhaps finding a long stretch, arms reaching away from the legs like you're taking a big yawn, waking up from rest. And as you're ready, if you were laying down, rolling yourself over onto one side. And gently pressing yourself up to a seated position. Letting the head come up last. Allowing eyes to be soft or closed. Taking a few breaths here. Connecting inward before this place of transition out of yoga and into the rest of your night. Sensing if there's anything you might want to take with you. Into your week, into the next hour. If it's comfortable, you can take the hands together at heart center. Taking a little bow down to yourself, acknowledging yourself for showing up, for playing with pausing in the middle, existing in the between space. May all beings everywhere get to know this space. Thank you.